What is good, everyone? Welcome to the first ever episode of the Uproar Unfiltered Podcast. My name is Buddy. I'm here with my ethereal co-host, Pastor Kenneth Cole Clark, evangelist, holy anointed Kenneth Cole Clark. Ethereal.
What does that mean?
It's like otherworldly, you know?
Dang.
It's like next
out of
level,
this
out of this world.
Dang, ethereal.
Different. Ethereal co-host.
I'll take it.
Cole.
I'll take it.
Yeah, so this is the unfiltered Uproar Unfiltered podcast. We just kind of want to just we're really gonna just touch things on faith and culture for the most part.
Yeah.
But not from a position of TMZ, Shade Room, like, oh, what's the latest opinion on a thing that just broke news 30 seconds ago.
Right.
But we really just want to be able to touch and talk on things that go on in the everyday life of a believer, specifically those who are young adults, Gen Z, people who are in youth ministry, youth pastors, youth students, young adult pastors, young adult students, Bible college students, things like kind of around in that sphere.
Right.
And by no means do we want to be position ourselves as experts, even though I would position myself as an expert of the culture. I'm not gonna lie.
But he's an expert.
I'm an expert of the culture, but
by
by no means we want to sit in seats of authority.
Yeah,
But I think there are a lot of people who are looking for, conversations about things that are not just like a gossip corner, but a lot of people really want to know on how do we operate in today's day and age with social media, entertainment, culture, talking heads, influencers, politics, so on and so forth. So I think today, just with all that in general, I think this kind of opens up to kind of the conversation that we're really going to touch on, which is the central idea of discipleship. I think recently, let's counter one. Right now, we're going to have a counter pop up every time that Cole taps the lamp. Yeah, it's one of those like.
So it's dangerous. It's like dangerous. You touch it and boom,
it goes
ruins the shot.
But today we're gonna touch on discipleship. I think discipleship has become recently, over maybe the last year or two, very more prominent, especially amongst Gen Z. I think what we're seeing right now on the rise is people want genuine, true, real discipleship. I think people are really moving out of the day and age of like entertainment culture, entertainment church. But I think now it opens up the question, what is discipleship? How do you disciple? Who is a disciple? What does the Bible say about the disciple? So on and so forth. So you just kind of want to get us into.
Yeah, I mean, I do feel that like it's maybe it's like a natural proclivity of man to feel as if you're coming from a position of like, I know exactly what I'm about to say confidently, even though I really don't know much about it. Mm-hmm. Like when I'm interacting with people, I think this is a natural maybe to my personality, but I see it in a lot of others, is like when you're unfamiliar with something, you're not inquisitive, you're critical. Mm. And like it's easy to be critical about things you don't understand rather than inquisitive. Yeah. And right now, I know, like, especially for what I believe in our generation, is like we're definitely critical about a lot of things immediately, but I think it's just because we don't fully understand how we're being shaped, who's shaping us, why things are happening. One of the things I appreciate about like talking with Buddy is there's almost this good like way of thinking that he has adopted that is very like, I'm inquisitive, not critical. And I believe a lot of people right now are taking hard stances on things that the more I listen to them, the more I realize like you're passionate, but you're not learned.
That's good.
You got a good passion for and you even have good intentions, but you're not learned, and it reminds me of like this example I use quite frequently is like intentions are a scary thing because you can intend to do the right thing, but do a terrible thing. Like if you were to like interview someone who got a DUI or like committed manslaughter because they were under intoxication while driving, none of them are going to be like, yeah, my plan tonight was to kill a family.
Yeah.
They're like, no, I was just trying to get home. I didn't want to call a cab. I didn't have money. I didn't want to leave my car, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
Like, intention's good.
Mm-hmm.
But the outcome, disaster.
Mm-hmm.
And I think right now in our culture, there's a lot of people with good intentions. Like, they have a podcast. They have this going on. And they position themselves in that way of a voice, of an authority, of knowledgeable.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, it just confuses more people than helps.
Right.
So, like, we're covering these topics. And I think what it all boils down to is, what are the core tenets of what we believe,
mm-hmm.
and how do we navigate life around that?
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, obviously we're talking about discipleship. I believe we got to understand why this is such an important topic, why this is the first thing we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
This has become trendy.
Yeah.
It's like, let's go back to like 2018,
mm-hmm.
2016.
Right.
To like maybe like 2019, 2020. The trendy word was around grace.
Mm.
Everything was about grace. Like, we had people coined a term, hyper grace. That's where we really started to see like this term, like, at least from my perspective, like, we heard a lot of these things like seeker sensitive churches.
Mm-hmm.
And it seemed like the tone of our culture was like, how do we be open to having people who might otherwise reject us, but at the same time try to get them to be holy?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of confusion in that realm. And then that's where people were making hard stances against that. That was like the trending words at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Now the trending word, which I think it's a much better topic, but it is like discipleship.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody knows at this moment, like, if you want to be somebody who's respected, you better be talking about a disciple.
Mm-hmm.
Because everyone right now is like, we just care about making disciples. We want to make a disciple. But I think the question becomes like, well, what do you think a disciple even is?
Right.
What does that really mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, because I think the same way grace and hyper grace and all these little terms came around grace, like it was really like, in reality, if you don't clearly define what grace is,
mm-hmm.
that's the only way this gets confusing.
Yeah.
So with discipleship, I think we got to define clearly what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And we as a church over the last couple of years have gotten together, and Buddy and I were a part of this process of defining biblically what a disciple is in our own language.
Mm-hmm.
And that doesn't by any means mean that our language is the only way.
Right, the only right way.
But we have walked through, because in Matthew chapter 28, verse 19, it says, go into all the world and make disciples. You know, it's the Great Commission. You know,
mm-hmm.
it's our mission here on earth.
Right.
So what does that mean? And I got a few overarching ideas, and then, you know, I know Buddy knows, we'll break down within that the nitty gritty.
Mm-hmm.
But something that we defined a disciple as, or the language we use for the definition we know, is somebody who is following God, mm-hmm. or following Jesus, mm-hmm. becoming like Jesus, mm-hmm. and doing what Jesus did.
Yeah.
We've read, I don't know how many books we read. As a staff, it was like,
I think everyone had to read like 3, and there was like a pile of like, what, 12, 13 different books on discipleship from like different avenues of discipleship, and which it kind of goes and shows is like, you know, there are a lot of because I think there's discipleship, and then there's a lot of things that come under that, mm-hmm. right? Like, we read books on family discipleship, if you're, you know, in a business and you have staff or employees, you know, discipleship when it comes to your kids or your spouse, discipleship if you're in church, if you're in youth ministry, whatever it is, and ultimately understanding the fullness of it. And I think it's very important right now, and I think even with this first episode kind of laying a foundation of what we will be discussing a lot within this podcast, why it's very relevant is ultimately everybody is a disciple, right? Sometimes we might think that, well, only, you know, disciple is really only one person, and there's people who aren't disciples and who are. And that might be the case in, let's say, for example, right, there are disciplers of Jesus, and then there are people who are not disciples of Jesus in that case. But those people who are not disciples in Jesus or of Jesus, they are just disciples of something or someone else.
Right. Like, if we look up, like, a disciple, what is a disciple? Definition, like Merriam-Webster. Mm-hmm. It says a devoted learner, follower, and apprentice of a teacher or master.
Right.
So, like, a disciple isn't a new concept.
It's not a new. Yeah, it's not.
It's not. Term. It's language that's really old that I think we don't use in our regular language. So we think it's so nuanced that we're like. So, like, if you were to, like, go back in the day and be like, oh, he's a disciple of whatever.
Yeah. If you were to go, like, let's take ourselves back to Jesus' time.
Right.
If you were to say, I am a disciple of, right, of Jesus, or let's even say, like, for in this time, whether it be in Jewish culture, Hebrew culture, or even in the philosophical movement, right? If I was to say I'm a disciple of Aristotle or Socrates,
right,
they would know, oh, dang. You talk the same as he does. You have the same beliefs that he does. You live the same way that he does. You do the same thing that he does. And they would know because you would embody the person that you follow. And even in that case, right, you would use in the case of Jesus, or even this Hebrew culture of like a disciple and a rabbi, right? The disciple, they followed the rabbi everywhere they went. They sat under all their teachings, whether it be publicly or next to them. They ate with them. They did everything with them. Mm-hmm. Why? Because they wanted to receive every ounce of teaching, every ounce of mannerism, every ounce of wisdom that they have. So then when they eventually get to a point, they might become a rabbi, a teacher, right? A rabbi just means teacher. They might become a teacher and have disciples of themselves. Mm-hmm. And so if you look in this modern context, like, yeah, we don't have many cases where it's like, yeah, bro, like, think of LeBron James, like, LeBron's my rabbi, right? Like, and I'm going to follow him everywhere and every practice I'm at, but I'm standing right next to him and I'm looking at his jump shot and I'm looking at his passing technique. I'm looking at how he sets screens and how he rebounds, how he cuts to the rim, right? I'm watching all this and I'm implementing it. Like, we don't necessarily have that today, but people are still ultimately being formed by something.
Right.
And culture is very relevant, and especially with the rise of social media.
Right.
You have so much access to so many different, we'll just quote unquote teachers, that you are being taught by someone or something, right? Whether it be like, I can tell if you heavily watch Fox News or CNN, right? I can heavily tell who if Drake's your favorite artist. Right. I can heavily tell if you watch a bunch of the Ruslan podcasts or if you watch a lot of the Joe Rogan podcasts, right? I can tell a lot of those things. Why? Because 9 times out of 10, you are going to pick up their mannerisms, the way they talk, their beliefs, how they live, because you are ultimately being discipled by them.
I really think we could just park right there. Mm. This thought hits my hand. We live in an information age.
Yes.
Matter of fact, our generation is really the first generation from start to finish that has had that information at our fingertips.
Right.
For just about the majority of our life. I really think like the next generation, like Gen Alpha, like they don't know.
Gen Alpha will really be.
They don't know anything else other than an iPad.
Right.
Other than
iPhones,
Google.
Yeah.
Other than social media.
Yeah, that. Yeah.
I think we were kind of at the tail end of that.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
like, yeah, I remember a time with like house phones, like when video games were online, before apps, before the smartphone.
But even my version of a house phone, like, was different.
Yeah.
Like yes, I know about a corded house phone.
Well,
I tapped the light. I know about the corded house phone, but like, we had wireless house phones by the time I was like 8 or 9. You know what I mean? Like, I wasn't sitting at the one phone in the kitchen, right? Like, we were walking around. So I'm saying that to say, like, something I've noticed, even trying to teach people, is like, let's just say, for example, like learning about a trade. You can YouTube everything.
Yeah.
By the time there's someone who's trying to mentor you, you're like, look at them. They're doing it. They're doing it the way the guy in the video I watched said not to do it. Where like back in the day, like that was invaluable information. Like I spent time with somebody today who's like in the HVAC trade. And, you know, like he just does things his way and he has a quality of work. And it's like, I feel that our generation has lost the concept of a mentee. Because we feel that because information is so freely accessible to us, why would we need one?
Right.
But one of the favorite things that I heard recently talking with Pastor Cody is like, obviously we're doing a podcast right now. Like we're doing a YouTube video right now. We want to give information. Here's the real thing though. This video will never walk through with you with life.
Right.
Like this video will never suffice for someone walking with you.
Yes.
And when you're saying that you're going to submit to being a disciple of Jesus, like when you're saying I'm a disciple, really the first thing you're saying is like, I will follow you. I will walk with you.
Yeah.
I will surrender to you.
Right.
And in Luke 9:23 through 24, it talks about living a fully surrendered life to Jesus. Mark 12 verse 30 says, love the Lord your God with all your heart. You know, like these verses are showing us, you know, like even when Jesus looked back at his disciples, like if you are not willing to give up house and home, family, farmland, then you are not fit to be my disciple, to be my follower. Right. So maybe it's the thought of like, so this is where we go into our first part of discipleship. Like, okay, we get this right. A disciple is a devoted follower of something. Yeah. In a regular definition. Yeah. And what Jesus says when he says go make a disciple, he's not like, oh, I think that just using that definition only covers a facet of what God is showing is a full picture of a disciple of Jesus. Right. And the first portion being you have to be willing to surrender everything. Yeah. The cost is everything. Yeah. It is maybe what one must have had to have done to follow an Aristotle, to follow, you know, these great minds in the ancient times. It was a very well practiced thing. There was rabbis, there was teachers, and there was a full understanding that to get what they have was going to cost you. You were going to have to do and abandon many things. Yeah. You know, now our society doesn't really think that way. You know, it's like
we don't want to give up much.
Right. Like people want paid internships, not internships. Right. Like internship in the essence of the word is like I train under you and the way I'm paid is in the knowledge you give me. Right. But now it's like people are like, you think I would do that without getting paid? Yeah. I can learn that somewhere else.
Yeah, I can just go to YouTube.
Right. And it's like, no, see, you're missing the value of an internship. Right. Is that it's paying you in knowledge.
Well, yeah. What I would even say deeper, not only if it's paying you in knowledge, but it's also paying you in wisdom. And good. I think that's the difference is like, even think this podcast or even think YouTube or whatever, like me and you would both agree, like we're PhD.
Yes, YouTube sir.
University.
YouTube
PhD.
I might have a master's.
Like doctorates, Dr. Buddy, Dr. Cole, right? Right. But we would both agree is like, YouTube has never given me wisdom. YouTube has given me knowledge, right? I've learned some things, so I don't know. But wisdom essentially is can only be gained through experience in living, right? Like, you know, we could go through you know, whether it be like your dad or whatever, like Pastor Cody in my life, Pastor Cody in both of our lives. Like there are things that they've given us knowledge, but there's also things that they've given us that is wisdom by experience that they lived. Right. And now we know how to walk, how to act, how to live in a certain way in life because of wisdom that we gained based on an experience that someone else lived. And I think it's the same with Jesus is that is like you said, there is a full-on surrender and that we must give up everything. And then obviously when you go into, you know, what comes with giving your life to Christ. But ultimately he is forming us, right? We are being formed into something. And ultimately what we are being formed into is the image of him, right? As we grow and as we walk as disciples of Jesus, we shouldn't be conformed to the world, right? We shouldn't be transformed by the world, but we should be transformed by Jesus, by the word of God. And ultimately, like, that is the difference. That is the kicker, right? It's like I could go to YouTube and I can look up a lot of Christian stuff, right? Even like think of today, like people like, I got an internet pastor, online pastor. It's not your pastor, bro.
No, bro.
I got internet mentor. Like they don't know you exist. They can't hold you accountable. They don't know the ins and outs of your life. They don't know what you're struggling with, what you're dealing with. That's not your pastor, right? That's not your mentor. That's not your discipler, right? Because part of discipleship is also relationship based.
Literally,
it's like you gotta be with him, right? To be formed by him, you gotta be with him,
right?
And so I think that is like we see the very big separator between like you said, like we've in our generation we kind of have given up, like, well, I can just go get access to information somewhere else, and in bits and pieces, sure, that might be good, but in longevity, like it doesn't bring tremendous value compared to being with someone.
No, yeah. We need to learn how to navigate life as a disciple.
Yeah.
And when we look at the fullness of this definition we've built out, it starts with costing something, which is also why following God in our culture has become such a easy thing to go in and out of, because people don't think there's a cost associated with it.
Right.
What are the things that you value the most, like that hold the most value, or something that costs you the most? And that doesn't even mean monetary. Like I got this gun that I inherited from my great uncle, from my dad. It is not the most expensive weapon in the world. It's not the most expensive item in the world. But when you hear this, when I learned of the story of how many times it was almost lost, and how, you know, like my dad had to fight for, you know, the ability to have it and to get it. It's like, see, that thing is worth more money. That is worth more than money to me. Like it holds a value to me because I know what it costs to keep.
Yeah, that's good.
Like there's something in it where like someone could come offer me $5,000, $10,000 more worth more than what its value is, and I would say no.
Yeah, because
I know the cost that was associated with it. Same thing with our relationship with God. Same thing with this thing. It's like people are willing to dip and dive and get in and out of this relationship with Jesus. And like all of a sudden they're starting to navigate things in culture and they lose touch of what Jesus said, but they don't find it as that big of an issue. Oh, I'm just learning. Yeah. But it's because they don't recognize the cost associated with what they're following. Like they never put no pain in the game. They never put no skin in there. Like they never
didn't give anything up.
Like, right. Like don't tell me that you're really fully devoted to Jesus and you keep trying to drag everything that God is asking you to let go with you. Like that isn't a part like of, and I think you can cautiously say it like, yes, I want people to be inquisitive about faith, but like, I mean, how do I even know that we have trouble understanding that as a culture? Is that all a celebrity has to do is say that they love Jesus, and all of a sudden everybody thinks that there's some standard of living.
Yep.
Like, bro, just because someone wears a cross or is against abortion or comes out and says they're love Jesus, like that's kind of like our issue. Is like we just think that everyone who does that with a title in front of the name is all of a sudden qualified to represent what it really means to lose everything for the gospel. Like if you can't sacrifice to follow Jesus, like if you haven't sacrificed to follow Jesus, you're actually not. Right? Like we literally have to bear our own cross.
Yeah. I think even to speak on that point, because I think we're definitely in a culture of like, just try Jesus, right? Like even that terminology, I don't
give them 6 months.
I don't. Yeah, like even that terminology, I don't really like no more because it's almost like it just feeds to our subscription based culture.
Break that
of
down.
Our generation, right?
Break that down.
So subscription-based culture. Shout out Stephen Robertson. He's like the leading expert on like Gen Z and Gen Alpha.
Right.
I'm pretty sure we probably have some leadership training stuff.
We do. You can check us out. He definitely has some. He's done multiple sessions with us at
Uproar
Conference.
He's done.
And he's goated.
Yeah, he's done a bunch of stuff. Yeah. And yes, also part of this podcast, we're going to be having access to a bunch of just resources that we have through Uproar. So I'm pretty sure something like this is out there somewhere. But he essentially he's taught on something for a lot of the few of the sessions that we've done with him on how this generation is subscription based, right? Is that essentially we will subscribe to you for as long as you bring us value, right? But the moment Netflix don't got the movie or TV show that you want no more, oh yeah, I'm unsubscribing. Right. The moment, Amazon Prime don't got what I need no more. Oh
it's not Blockbuster anymore.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's not
Netflix.
Yeah.
It's like
it's not my right. It's not mom and pop shop no more. Where it's like, oh, this is my local neighborhood. Regardless if they good or not, I'm a support because this is where my loyalty is. But my loyalty is based on value, and so part of the language that sometimes we've used when it comes to church is, hey, just give Jesus a try. Nowhere in the Bible does say just give Jesus a try. Right. Like, hey, just try it out. Just see if you like it. No, the language is harsh. Like if you legit, like if you look at the language that Jesus used when he talked about following him, it was always harsh. It was a hard ask. It was not easy. He didn't make it easy where it's like, give me a try. You'll really enjoy it. No, it was always like, if you want to follow me, die to yourself. Yeah, if you want to follow me, drink of my blood and eat of my flesh. If you want to follow me, carry your cross daily, right? Like, mind you, when he said carry your cross daily, this is before he died on the cross.
Right.
It's easy for us to understand because we understand the resemblance of the cross. Right. That would be like today if someone came to you and was like, if you want to be my follower, carry your electric chair daily. Carry your lethal injection daily. Like he was saying, hey, this execution device, you have to carry this daily. And people were like, what are you talking about? Right? Like, what are you talking about? Because he understood following Jesus, you will have to give up everything. It is not and again, right, he does say, right, my burden is light, my yoke is easy, my burden is light, right? This is not me saying that like just because you follow Jesus, right, like world's you're gonna fall to hell, right? That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is that no, you are gonna have to get out your comfort zone. You will have to deny yourself. You will have to give up things that your flesh desires. You will have to, and that what is part of discipleship. There is a level of sacrifice because what the price that was paid for your life, you have to give something in exchange. And what he does ask of us is our life. And we have to, and the reason why things are so, it's hard to get people to become disciples is because we're painting a false narrative for them where it's like, well, just give it a try. And it's a value-based loyalty where it's like, if I'm trying something, that means if I'm seeing if I like it. If I don't, then I'm not good. But part of following Jesus is not, well, if I really like it. No, during my walk, there's been plenty of things where it's like, bro, I do not like this, but I understand. If I want to follow him, I have to die to myself.
I mean, being a disciple is not a value menu item.
No. It's not the
like we can't, like we gotta. I don't know everything, but I know this. We gotta stop preaching it like it's the McChristian value menu.
Yeah, it's the
everyone come be a disciple. Do you even know what that means?
Do you know what that costs?
Right, like you'll see it in people's Instagram bio, like disciple of Christ. Love it, but let's just start at this. Like, it starts with recognizing that there is a high price associated with it. Just like you're saying. It's going to cost you something great. We've all had our things. Something I always hear people say, this would be easy if it was just this one thing was like, if it was, I had this one thing removed. Like how many people have I had have a conversation?
Yeah.
Me. And you're like,
one thing was
you're like,
removed.
if weed just wasn't a thing, then I would be so easy to serve God. If lust just wasn't a thing,
be so easy.
This is a cakewalk. And it's like, no, you're missing it. everybody's got a thing.
Yeah,
Everybody has a thing.
Yeah.
And like until you can crucify that thing, you can't even bear the name of being, you can't even bear the title of being a disciple. So when we look at like how we are going to navigate life, like how are we going to navigate topics, too many people are willing to put their faith on a chopping block because they haven't had a price or cost associated with following Jesus. So they're willing to relinquish it easy when things get tough or when there is hardship or when there's an option to walk away. Like, I think it really stems from like when you have and you are willing to lose everything for what you believe, there also becomes this moment of cherishing what you gave everything up for. And this beautiful switch takes place where you are now more concerned with keeping this valuable thing than you are with having trouble letting go of other things. It's like this immediate switch. Like I went from like having trouble letting go of the girl, having trouble letting go of the parties, having trouble letting go of the lust and the addictions. And I remember having a conversation with you in the car one night. I picked up this, like, I figured just like most young kids, I mean, when I look back at it now, I'm like, this is so like corny high school drama. But when you're in high school, it doesn't, and people even say what I just said, like, you're just a kid, it's just corny, like, you just get tight. Because you're like, no, this is real, I'm big, I'm adult.
I mean, at that time, those are like the only problems you knew.
Right,
like,
no, yeah.
That type of stuff.
And what I was living in my life is like, I just got in this relationship, and it was like, I mean, multiple times in my walk with God, it was a relationship with a female that made me not serve God. And I remember one night, I felt this feeling like the Lord telling me that, like, you gotta get rid of this thing. And like, I think the first thing my mind went to was like, but there's other people who haven't. But the Lord is like, but that, you're not other people. This is your cross. And I remember knowing, like, I'm driving in the hills, like, by where we live, and I'm knowing, like, I have to get rid of this thing. Like, it might not be everyone's cross, but it's my cross. And I remember I pulled up on Buddy's crib, and me and Buddy knew each other. You know, like, we had grown up around each other in youth group, but, you know, we weren't, like, tight. Like, that wasn't, like, my best brother in the world. Like, we both had our own friend groups and own people, own schools. And I picked him up, and I'm like, I don't even got, like, that was the closest thing. Like, as crazy as this sounds, like, as little as I knew Buddy, that was the closest thing I had to a brother in Christ. And I picked Buddy up, picked you up, and I got in the car, and I just drove off. Like, I asked Buddy to pray with me.
I didn't
and then,
have shoes on.
Yeah, and then we were just driving. Like, I just took off. He's like, where are we going? And you know me, I look like a psychomaniac, tears in my eyes, talking about, I don't know. And that night, Buddy was helping me externalize and process this cross I was about to carry. And he said this to me, and I just never forget it. He was like, if you can do this, there's nothing you can't do. And it sounds so simple over something so high school lovey. Like, it was such a corny thing. And when I look back, but it really wasn't. And when Buddy said that, it was like God was using him to speak deeper to me than to the situation. And what I heard when Buddy said that was like, this is the hardest thing you have to carry or to have to get rid of. If this is it, if this is the pinnacle of your sacrifice, everything from this moment and beyond will be doable because you've been willing to give up the hardest thing. And from the moment that I made that decision, everything changed to where it was like, there was nothing that I'm not willing to give up. But now my perspective has become, I have to cherish and protect because of what I have, because of this reward I've gotten for that sacrifice. And I don't want to say in a works-based way, like, oh, I had to work for this. Like, no, it was God's grace and unmerited favor and love and mercy on my life that I was able to accept Jesus. But I had to let go of things. And letting go of those things has given me such a divine, supreme perspective of the beauty of what we are doing, and this feeling of I've had to give up more and I'll have to give up more, but it's worth protecting and keeping what we've been given.
Yeah.
And really all three of the aspects flow together, right? Because then Jesus says we're going to become like him. Like, I mean, following God is just the beginning of the journey, because then you start to become like Jesus. You go into the process of sanctification, right? Like, we bear much fruit, John 15:8. Like, we have to produce things in our life that show that we are Jesus's, our language, our speak. 1 Peter 1:15 says to be holy as he is holy in all of our behavior. The word holy means set apart. Like, you enter into a time of life where you are consecrating, you are set apart, you are different from everybody, and it gives God glory. And then we do what Jesus did. You know, like, we Mark 16:15 through 18, we Matthew 28 verse 19. Like, we live a life where we make more disciples, where we work, we plow in the kingdom of heaven. And so if you can learn how to see life through those lenses, like, to live in a place of sacrifice and protection of what God's done in you, to fully surrender to his will and his way. In every decision you make, that you are saying, I'm progressively getting closer to Christ. I'm not regressing away from my relationship in Jesus. And I'm also producing in others that same thing. If you could see life through that lens in every situation, you will learn how to navigate life how Jesus intended and designed it. And I think just some people, like, even in the realm of, like, everyone can just get a microphone now. This is Uproar's sin. It's like, we discuss and we talk about so many cultural things, so many influencers, so many Christian influencers. And it's like, in this day and age, everyone can have a microphone. I think for a little while, it's put, like, almost a disdain in my heart for having one. Because I'm like, man, like, who let these people get the mic? You know? Touch the mic. But at the same time, I'm like, man, like, it'd be nice for people to walk through how we walk through and navigate life, because there's a recognition that we're not perfect and that we're learning. But our goal is to see life through the lens of a disciple of Christ. And so sometimes there's things we're not willing to say against other people because we realize that isn't what Jesus would say or wouldn't want us to do, right? And there's sometimes that we don't cross the line on wanting to be against certain people, because as much as we might disagree on tertiary or secondary topics, we have the same mission, and that's to make more disciples. And then there's things that, you know, we look at in life and we find not acceptable because we know the cost that's associated with following Jesus. So, you know, like, take and pick any modern topic, run it through those filters, and you'll be valid. Yeah. You know, to be able to think and reason that way. And if I could think anything that I would hope people would gain from our conversations here on Uproar Unfiltered would be just to learn how to think as a Christian. You know, like, we were thinking of things to talk about on the podcast. And it's like, it can be fatiguing to have an opinion on everything.
Not everything, yeah.
Like, one of my favorite things is that I don't know everything. That's okay. Yeah. Like, sometimes, like, I told Buddy the other day, like, we were talking, and I'm like, bro, is it bad that I just don't want, like, I just don't feel the dog in the fight in my heart to have some hard opinion about that topic? You know, like, I don't see it as a social justice moment.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah. I think, again, with the information era that we're in, and we have so much news at the tip of our fingers, we think we need to have an opinion on everything. And not only do we think we need to have an opinion on everything, we think we need to get our opinion out the fastest. I think it's just put people in such a bind and such a just like being mentally exhausted, because we're finding out something new that's going on in the world every second. Alerts go off on our phone, and then we feel the need to formulate an opinion on it within a matter of minutes, and then we feel the need to be the first to say something on it. And I think real wisdom is like real recognizing what's good to have an opinion on and what's not, and also being okay with gathering and getting a good opinion on something before you just step out and say something. So, yeah, I think, all in all, I think in our day and age, I think, this generation really wants discipleship, which is good. We're the most marketed to generation. Everyone is vying and jostling and buying for our attention. And, we're the first generation that had to really start to filter and decide who is worthy of our attention. I think that's also like why our subscription-based mentality isn't also necessarily a negative, because everything is buying for it, and we really need to figure out what's worth buying into and what's not.
And like keeping. That's the idea behind like subscription-based, is like that is how our generation thinks, because our brain is wired that way. Like I have never I have listened to a CD on a CD player, on a little karaoke machine. My mom bought that. When it was time for me to buy music, it was Apple Music. Yeah. And I paid $10.99 a month. And I got iTunes cards for Christmas. Yeah. And I never owned Apple Music. I just bought a subscription. And the moment that I remember a specific moment in my life, it's changed a little now, when YouTube got subscriptions and you could listen to Vivo and like YouTube, like music on YouTube. You could listen to that with your phone closed. I stopped having an Apple subscription, because I was like, bro, YouTube is my new. And so it's like, when you live in our thought process, the way we've been trained, our age bracket and below, is like, we only keep or stay subscribed to things that keep adding value. Yeah. And there's almost a part of that that's like fire. Because it's like, we're not one-time purchasing items. Like, guess what? There's some preachers that I've listened to when we were young in the faith that brought great value to my walk with the Lord, and now I don't listen to them. Yeah. They've changed. They've made mistakes. They've walked away. They've changed their theology. Or maybe the place I'm at in life, I don't need that message the same way anymore. But like, how do we add value to people consistently? And it reminds me of the ancient proverb, like, give a man a fish and he eats for a meal. Teach a man to fish and he eats for a lifetime. I just don't want to cover topics that are like, here's your fish for the day. Right. Yeah. Like, oh, Drewski just made a video about Erica Kirk. Right. And it's like, like, let me give you the hot take topic on this. My thoughts on this. I mean, like, I think I have thoughts on it, but I'm also like, bro, let me just teach you how to like let's think this way together. Yeah. Like, let's go on this journey together. Let's think this way. How does a disciple navigate that situation? Right. Because I'd instead of just giving you, one opinion on something that's not going to matter in a month, let me give you let's think critically about something so you can learn how to live through many situations like this. And I think there's a space for people to say something so that Christians are saying something. Yeah, and I don't think we will never share our thoughts and opinions on certain things. But it's like, for me, like, I don't really care to have an opinion on like the recent Drewski skit. Now, when he did the skit on the churches, now I think that is something good to talk about, because I think, not only is fun to hear opinions on kind of the thing, but I think there is some value critically thinking about that video in the current state of where he might have gotten the idea to do a video like that, right? So on and so forth. So, I think all in all, it's like, it's finding a good, healthy balance. I don't think,
like there isn't a space to share opinions on stuff and thoughts on things. But I think ultimately there's way more value in teaching disciples, right? That's what we all are, on how do we navigate in today's day and age, today's culture, today's, entertainment-driven world that we live in, and then how do we be disciples in the world today? So.
Right. And I mean, if y'all who are listening, if you have anything that you want us to specifically cover, I mean, that you feel, like, drop it in the comments below.
Yeah, drop it in the comments below. Feel free to reach out to us.
Yeah.
Rather than on social media, things like that.
Yeah.
If you're in, I know we're part of the Youth Group Chronicles, what is it, the Leadership Lounge.
Yeah.
If you guys are in there, please feel free to drop questions and things like that in there.
Yeah.
I know we're gonna be doing a couple Zooms here. Well, we have one Zoom. By the time this video comes out, the Zoom will already had happened. But we're gonna be doing some Zooms where we kind of touch on some more ministry leadership based things in the future. Our goal in this is really not to be celebrity, right? Our goal in this is there's a space for kind of stuff like this that is needed a little bit, that we really want to help fill, and people feel like they can go to and they can resonate, listen, receive, pull something that's not just, hey, what's the hot topic thing? Let's give an opinion that's gonna rile the internet up. Like, that's like never really gonna be the angle. Like,
we're just gonna be real.
Yeah. Like,
and we're gonna cover topics that are happening right now.
Right.
But we're just not gonna do it in a way that's like,
that's clip worthy.
Right.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Like, we're just gonna navigate this walk as a disciple of Jesus Christ.
Right.
Like, I mean, I think there's gonna be some things where it's like, Christians, just, it don't matter.
Right.
Like, that just ain't our business. It just really, but at the same time, like, we should also be thought leaders.
Yeah.
Like, I do think we are and should be the loudest voices. How we do that matters. Right. You got to do it through the perspective of following, becoming, doing. Can't just do it through like, hey, y'all, I made a commitment to follow God, but I'm rough around the edges. I'm gonna let things fly.
Yeah, I'm gonna just say,
right,
whatever.
Like, nah, we becoming
the
like
hot
Jesus.
topic button, like,
right.
And that doesn't mean that like opinions that we might have might not be, because I definitely have opinions that might be considered hot, unorthodox, right? Yeah. But it's not just to be for the sake of it, right? But that will be stuff that we'll cover it.
You'll get in there.
So
we just riffing. We just talking.
But all in all, I mean, honestly, we really hope you guys enjoyed this first episode. This first episode was really just something that we just kind of wanted to get our feet wet and kind of set the ground with. Really just, it'd really be a lot of momentum building. There's definitely more to come. We have 3 conferences this year for the first time ever. One at the end of June, which is that the main one? Is the end of June?
June 18th through the 20th is Maine.
Maine. And then
early July
is
we'll put the dates on the screen. We got Indiana.
And then end of July 1st,
31st through August 2nd.
Second is
Upper Conference Horses.
Yeah. So listen, if you guys are in the neighborhood area, make sure you get there. We're gonna have Keenan Clark, Ross Johnston, Marcus McFowling. I believe we're gonna have
in Maine, Pastor Chris Estrada.
We're gonna have what's her name from Red Worship? No. Oh, yes. Yeah, Bailey Redmond will be there.
Bailey Redmond.
Lizzie Morgan.
Lizzie Morgan is at, what one is that?
Is Indiana.
Indiana, yeah.
Yeah, Lizzie Morgan.
Like 30 minutes outside of Chicago.
It's like 30 minutes outside of Chicago. So we'll have the dates up. We'll have the locations up. Please go if you don't follow yet. You can go to our Instagram. The Uproar Conference, that's where we drop all our news, our updates, things like that. Give this channel a follow so you can stay up to date on all the latest episodes. Like I said, please feel free to reach out. I promise we're not Hollywood. If there's things that you want us to discuss, talk on, questions that you might have, our goal will be to attach every single resource that we possibly have, because again, our goal is to help you guys. It's not really to build ourselves, but me and Cole, and really just Uproar as a ministry in general, have a heart to pour into and help this generation, whether it be young believers, young adults, youth pastors, youth leaders, so on and so forth. So with all that being said, we love you guys. I'm going to catch you in the next one. Peace.